Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. This is Beyond Wild as One. We are glad you're watching. I'm Eric Kunjwaka. The headlines. After a weekend of setbacks, Congress sprints to pass Trump's big bill before July 4th deadline. This is the deeply divisive package expected to slash social programs for the poor and add $3 trillion to the national debt. Iran's judiciary says that at least 935 people killed in the country during its 12-day war with Israel, nearly a week since the ceasefire took hold, a sharp uptick from the previous study. The European Union agrees to a new long-term trade deal with Ukraine covering imports of food products from the war-torn country that have angered EU farmers. The White House says it will restart negotiations with Canada immediately. This is after Ottawa dropped digital tax targeting US technology firms. Russia's foreign ministry says it has summoned Azerbaijan's ambassador to Moscow over what it describes as Baku's unfriendly actions and the illegal detention of Russian journalists working in the country. Europe has been hit by record temperature highs as a deadly heatwave sweeps the continent. Spain and Portugal see hottest day on record, with temperatures reaching 46 degrees Celsius. The Weather Department says most parts of India are likely to receive above normal rainfall in July. Central India, Uttarakhand and Haryana on high alert. A wildfire breaks out near residential areas in Turkey's southern province as more fires rage in the country's west. Over 50,000 people evacuated so far.
For months, Benjamin Netanyahu has had one war goal: a complete victory over Hamas. But now suddenly the Israeli Prime Minister is talking about hostages. For the first time, he is publicly prioritizing the return of the hostages still in Gaza. This comes as the Israeli public has grown weary of an endless war. They want an immediate return of hostages. So what does this mean? Is Netanyahu finally responding to growing domestic pressure? Is this a prelude to a ceasefire, or is this a way to buy time from a frustrated nation? Our next report tells you.
For nearly 20 months, the war in Gaza has been a drumbeat of devastation. Airstrikes, evacuations, ceasefire talks that begin and collapse like sandcastles. And through it all, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has stood firm on one message: a total victory over Hamas. But this weekend, the Israeli Prime Minister has suddenly changed his tune. He is talking about bringing back hostages again.
I want to inform you that many opportunities have now opened up, as you surely know, following this victory. First and foremost, to rescue the hostages.
More than 50 of them still trapped in Gaza since Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack. For months, they were mentioned only as tragic footnotes in a broader Israeli war doctrine. Now, suddenly, Netanyahu wants to shift the narrative. He says that many opportunities have opened up following Israel's war with Iran. And now rescuing the hostages might just come first. Or at least that saying so might be politically necessary. So what has changed? The brief 12-day war gave Netanyahu a breather. Polls briefly ticked up. The public was in support of Netanyahu's military actions. But it didn't last. By last weekend, headlines had shifted back to Gaza. Over 56,000 Palestinians have been killed and neighborhoods flattened. Yet the hostages haven't still returned home. What's more, the domestic tide was turning. In Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Haifa, thousands were back on the streets demanding a ceasefire deal. Demanding that Netanyahu bring their families home. Then came Trump, always eager to play both matchmaker and kingmaker. The US president is demanding a Gaza deal on Truth Social. After all, Trump has just handed Netanyahu a gift with the Iran strikes. Also, there is his vocal support for dismissing Netanyahu's corruption trial as a witch hunt. So the Israeli PM has no option but to listen. Behind closed doors, high-level meetings have begun again. Netanyahu has been meeting with key ministers to reassess Israel's Gaza strategy. Ron Dermer, his trusted advisor, flew to Washington to hash out the new proposal. It talks about a 60-day ceasefire, the release of 10 living hostages and 18 bodies, and a framework for ending the war. But a release of hostages demands diplomacy and compromise, even if that means negotiating with Hamas. And this reflects the divide at the heart of Israeli society. One side wants closure, the other wants victory. Netanyahu is now being asked to choose. Right now, his base is split over this decision. His rivals, like former PM Naftali Bennett, are sharpening their knives. Some are calling openly for Netanyahu to resign. And the longer the war drags on, the more the domestic chorus in Israel grows. Over half of Israelis now say Netanyahu should step down. Nearly two-thirds say the war in Gaza should end. So Benjamin Netanyahu stands at a crossroads. The Iran strikes gave him a temporary high, but the reality of Gaza has returned like a shadow. Right now, he has a chance to bring the hostages home and cement his legacy. But legacy, like rescue, depends on what you're willing to risk and whom you're willing to lose.
Good afternoon, everybody. This afternoon, the president will be signing an executive order to terminate the United States sanctions program on Syria. And this is in an effort to promote and support the country's path to stability and peace. The order will remove sanctions on Syria while maintaining sanctions on the former President Assad, his associates, human rights abusers, drug traffickers, persons linked to chemical weapons activities, ISIS and their affiliates, and Iranian proxies. And this is, again, an action that the president promised and shocked the world with in Saudi Arabia, because he's committed to supporting a Syria that is stable, unified, and at peace with itself and its neighbors. The president met with Syria's new president when we were in the Middle East, as you know, and so this is another promise made and promise kept by this president to promote peace and stability in the region. So as for discussions between Syria and Israel, you'll have to reach out to those respective
After a weekend of exhausting and divisive debates between Senate Republicans over their signature tax breaks and spending cut plan that included at least one GOP senator saying they would no longer seek re-election after a public spat with President Donald Trump, the lawmakers have now decided that they are going to proceed with a marathon series of amendments known as a vote-a-thon. So what is a vote-a-thon? In essence, it's an endurance test for lawmakers, where senators are allowed to propose an unlimited number of amendments to this bill. In theory, it could go on forever, though senators have said that they predict that it's going to take about 12 to 15 hours to get through the process.
I mean, this is a called a vote-a-rama for a reason, so we're about ready to walk in the Thunderdome. I don't know how many there are going to be.
Democrats are saying that they're going to submit amendments on issues such as health care, tax cuts for the wealthy, and potential cuts to social programs and environmental programs. Whereas some conservative Republicans have said that they're going to propose amendments that would extend or deepen the cuts to some programs and also tackle issues such as the deficit. Whereas some more moderate Republicans have said that they've raised issues in the amendment process on policies such as rural hospitals. But even after this lengthy amendment process, the bill only has a narrow pathway to passage after 2 GOP senators have said that it's dead on arrival with them. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky has said that he will never vote for raising the debt ceiling, which means that he cannot support the bill in its current form. Meanwhile, Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina has said that the cuts to Medicaid in the bill at the moment are too steep for his state. The goal all along has been to get this sweeping package to President Trump's desk by July 4th. Though even after the Senate potentially passes this bill, it will have to go back to the House, where House Speaker Mike Johnson will have to make the case to some moderate Republicans to support the bill, even after a number of changes to social programs and tax cuts.
China is set to come out with a new weapon that provides a new dimension to traditional warfare. My colleague Rahesha explains.
It's a weapon that can potentially plunge entire cities into darkness, and it is designed to disable electronics, cripple infrastructure, and leave a battlefield blind. Well, a social media channel run by CCTV shared an animated video, and as you can see here, it shows the weapon being launched from a land-based vehicle before ejecting 90 cylinder-shaped submunitions. These canisters then bounced back upon impact before detonating mid-air, dispersing fine chemically treated carbon filaments designed to short-circuit high-voltage power infrastructure. Now, this weapon, it aims to disrupt enemy command and control center. Apart from that, the systems, it may also trigger widespread electrical outages. Its impact is felt over an area of around 10,000 square meters. According to the video, it has a range of around 290 kilometers and also warhead which weighs 490 kgs. Perhaps making it suitable for attacks on military substations and other electrical infrastructure. Now, the blackout bomb is seen as a first strike tool capable of knocking out enemy communications in a matter of just seconds. Its strategic use, it includes paralyzing an adversary's power grid and also communication systems. Apart from that, disabling military command and control centers, and other features also include radars and defense systems before a conventional strike or even a cyber strike. Experts say that the use of the blackout bomb goes beyond being a battlefield tool. If turned against civilian infrastructure, they could cripple hospitals, airports and power grids, leaving cities vulnerable and perhaps in darkness.
China has just unveiled a chilling new weapon, a so-called blackout bomb capable of plunging entire cities into darkness. The weapon, dubbed as the Weapon of Darkness, featured in a slick and animated video. It was aired by the state broadcaster CCTV, touting its ability to cripple power grids across 10,000 square miles and without any visible destruction. How does it work? According to the report, the bomb is graphite-based, also known as a carbon fiber bomb. It ejects over 90 cylinder-shaped submunitions that burst mid-air, spraying fine filaments of carbon into electrical stations and substations, and effectively short-circuiting entire networks. What's its range? Nearly 300 kilometers. This so-called blackout bomb is launched from land and specifically targets critical military infrastructure. And that makes it a silent but extremely strategic weapon in any future conflict. That's what we know about it. The Chinese state media did not offer any technical breakdown as such. It has called it simply a quote-unquote mysterious, domestically made missile. But analysts are connecting the dots, especially given the growing tensions over Taiwan. Is it preparing this bomb for future Taiwan invasion? We do know that tensions with Taiwan have been on the rise. China considers the self-ruled democratic island as its own territory. Chinese planes and ships have been spotted near the island, and just this month, 6 Chinese aircraft and 8 vessels were reportedly spotted close to Taiwan's waters, with Beijing long threatening what it calls a forcible reunification with Taiwan. This blackout bomb could give it a non-lethal edge, if that is the route that Beijing decides to go by. Already this weapon has created a lot of buzz online, naturally. Users on X reacted swiftly, many saying that this kind of technology is not new. The US used graphite bombs as early as 1991 in Iraq and in Serbia reportedly, but others still sounded the alarm. Is modern warfare becoming very silent and very frightening? And if that is true, we all have a lot to worry about. The US has already warned of imminent Taiwan attack by China. Its defense secretary has already warned that China is rehearsing for war. At the Shangri-La Dialogue in Singapore, the US defense secretary had warned that China is preparing for the real deal and developing capabilities to seize Taiwan. This so-called blackout bomb may now be a key part of that plan. Just imagine, no visible blast, no bloodshed, just cities in the dark. With silent weapons like these, warfare may never look the same again.
Fury of nature, deluge from the skies, swept away lives and livelihood. China is bracing for the wrath of weather. This just days after record floods killed at least 6 people in southwestern region. On your screens are shattered houses, people crying out for help. A whole province submerged in water, as heavy rain was again forecast in Rangjiang County's Guizhou province. State media reported that the exceptionally large floods is setting a new benchmark for both rainfall and water levels.
缓慢回落，目前水务
The water inundated low-lying areas and inflicted severe damage on some infrastructure, cutting transport and communication links. Relief supplies are being distributed in an orderly manner in the flood-hit region. The southwest China's Szechwan province has also experienced heavy rainfall, prompting the evacuation of nearly 30,000 residents across 11 cities and prefectures. In Chengdu, the provincial capital, torrential rain triggered severe flooding on the road. In some sections, water levels exceeded 40 centimeters, rendering the road impassable for vehicles. Authorities, including municipal services and traffic police, responded swiftly by launching drainage operations which helped restore normal traffic flow. In Pengzhou, heavy rainfall caused a large tree to fall onto an expressway ramp, completely blocking traffic. Local authorities responded promptly, using chainsaws to cut and remove the fallen tree. The expressway was cleared and reopened within half an hour. As of now, authorities in Sichuan had evacuated more than 29,000 residents from 57 counties and districts across 11 cities as a precaution. As China braces for measures in Sichuan and Guizhou provinces, China has now expanded the economic safeguards for segments of its population affected by flood control schemes in times of extreme rainfall. This includes pledges of direct compensation from the central government and payments for livestock losses. In China, diverting floodwaters to areas next to rivers is a major step in managing downstream flooding. As extreme rainfall grows in frequency, China is increasingly utilizing such areas, some of which have been unused until now and have been populated by farms, croplands, and even residential buildings. Time now for some updates on the monsoon in India. Heavy rain continues to disrupt lives across several parts of the country. It has triggered floods, landslides, and blocked highways, especially in the hilly areas. At least 39 people have lost their lives in the Indian state of Himachal Pradesh due to rain-related incidents. In Shimla, a 5-story building collapsed, causing panic among residents. A yellow alert has been issued in Mandi, Kulu, and Kangra districts.
The building had been evacuated last night itself. Thankfully, there has been no loss of life in the incident. There are 3 to 4 more buildings adjacent to it that are looking vulnerable. A total of 5 houses nearby have been vacated. It is being said that the ground here has loosened due to the highway construction work, especially due to heavy machinery being used for stone excavation.
In Uttarakhand, landslides have blocked the Uttarkashi highway, leading to major travel disruptions in that region. The situation became dire when a landslide triggered by a cloudburst hit a labor camp near Silai Band. 2 out of 19 workers lost their lives, while 7 others are still missing. The authorities have suspended the Char Dham Yatra for 24 hours. The precautionary measure comes just days after a bus accident involving Char Dham pilgrims, which claimed 5 lives, with many still missing. As rain fury continues to grip India, several states are now under a red alert. The IMD has issued also yellow alert for Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat and Rajasthan, warning people in central India to stay vigilant.
Beloved, welcome back. So there is an update, an important update on the Coeur d'Alene shooting of the 2 firefighters that were shot. Apparently a third is injured. They're reporting as of 4 minutes ago that they found a body of a man with a rifle next to him. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho SWAT teams have located a deceased man with a firearm near the scene of Canfield Mountain, according to Kootenai County. Now, this just came in 4 minutes ago, so I don't know if it was an unaliving or if they took the guy out, but apparently they found a body with a firearm in an elevated position or somewhere at or near there. In 30 minutes, they're going to be putting, the Sheriff's Department is going to be doing a press conference and giving more data on this. So let's see if that's our time. Yeah, so 35 minutes. I will put a link as soon as I can find that. I'll pin it to the comment in the description and we can go over there and watch that together. So I will see you over there. But as of 5 minutes ago, they have a body with the firearm, and I think that's good news.
At approximately 1:21 this afternoon, we received a phone call that there was a fire on the backside or east side of Canfield Mountain. Fire assets responded to the scene, and at approximately 2 o'clock, firefighters broadcast that they were being shot at on Canfield Mountain. So we had about 300 law enforcement officers that were on scene that were trying to make heads and tails out of what was occurring. And during this time, we exchanged gunfire with the suspect. We honed in on that cell phone, and we saw that there was a male, appeared to be deceased, with a weapon nearby. So we have currently 1 dead shooter. Keep in mind, we had a fire that was rapidly, it was approaching the body, so we had to scoop up that body. And we believe that is the only shooter that was on that mountain at that time. We do believe that the suspect started the fire, and we do believe that it was an ambush and it was intentional. We did lose a Coeur d'Alene firefighter, and we did lose a firefighter from the Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. We have another firefighter that just came out of surgery. He is fighting for his life, but he's in stable condition.
As the Trump administration continues its crackdown on migrants living in the United States illegally, a new app is giving people a tool to avoid immigration agents. It's called IceBlock, an iPhone app that lets users alert others nearby of immigration and customs enforcement activity. The creator calls it an early warning system. Users can drop a pin on a digital map showing where they spotted agents and add notes about vehicles or uniforms if they want. Anyone with the free app within a 5-mile radius gets a notification. The developer told CNN the goal is to help people avoid ICE, not interfere with enforcement. He also says the app does not collect personal data and users remain anonymous. It's only available on iPhones for now because Android devices would require data collection that could expose users. While there is currently no way to verify reports made on the app, there are some safeguards in place to keep people from spamming it with fake reports. Users are only able to report sightings within 5 miles of their current location. They also can only make one report every 5 minutes, and all reports are automatically deleted after 4 hours. The app maker told CNN he has no plans to monetize the platform, saying it's a community service.
Is your computer good enough for an AI world? Well, Sam Altman says no. In a recent podcast, the OpenAI CEO said that the current computers were designed for a world without AI. Basically, as AI evolves, the computers we use will become outdated. Now, this is quite a sudden statement from Altman. This is a man who has insisted for years that only softwares need update. Basically meaning your algorithms, models, data, only they need to change. But now he is suggesting a change of the entire foundation. He wants to rebuild the computer. But is this an ideological U-turn, or is a calculated sales pitch for the company? Let's look at it. To understand Altman's pivot, here's something you must know. Generative AI always needs more. I am talking about more compute power, more memory, more bandwidth. That means the current hardware is always reeling under pressure. But that kind of processing doesn't need faster chips. It even demands a new kind of system. So Altman is now claiming that the days of our devices as primary AI interfaces is over. Instead, something new is coming. And apparently, it is coming from his own company, OpenAI. Back in 2023, OpenAI quietly acquired a startup helmed by Jony Ive. This is a man who was behind the design of Apple's iPhone. At that time, many wondered why OpenAI had teamed with a hardware designer. And the answer is this. Reports suggest they are working a mystery AI hardware project. Maybe the next computer to handle AI. The design is still work in progress, but of course, the timing is crucial here. OpenAI is facing enormous pressure from inside and out. Internally, the company is grappling with compute shortages. It is so severe that they have even delayed product rollouts. They don't have enough computing power or custom chips. And externally, the competition is sharpening its knives. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has launched a talent raid. He has lured away 4 senior OpenAI researchers. And he is offering 9-figure bonuses. So OpenAI's leadership scrambled to reassure its staff. They describe the feeling as if someone broke into our home. The top leadership is now issuing emotional Slack messages, even promising better compensation packages. Meanwhile, the pressure is growing. OpenAI employees are reportedly working 80 hours a week. The company had to enforce a mandatory week off to just prevent burnout. And then there's the looming financial reality. Running ChatGPT reportedly costs $700,000 per day. Altman has acknowledged the company is bleeding money. They do not have millions in investments, but the financial pressure is slowly building. And finally, there is AI fatigue. OpenAI's latest products haven't dazzled. The Sora text-to-video model stumbled on release, leading some to question whether OpenAI is still innovating. So Sam Altman knows the tide is turning. The AI glitz is wearing off. So now he is making a pivot to new AI machines. Now we don't know what it will look like. OpenAI can go the Apple way, making this device a part of a bigger ecosystem like iPhone and iOS. Some reports in fact suggest it won't be a wearable. Sam Altman has however hinted that it is meant to fit in your pocket. But whatever the new device looks like, Altman's gamble comes with enormous risk. Rebuilding the computer is not just expensive, it's existential. But if he pulls it off, he will be the guy who gave us the next computer. And if history is any lesson, from Microsoft's Windows to Apple's iPhone, the one who owns the platform owns the future.